I asked JC if he would like to comment, because I know JC is a...
Yeah, because he does lots of things tomorrow.
He doesn't, So JC over there in the Philippines, can you give us any comments on this, your point of view?
Mainly if this is easily accepted and discussed in your culture, because it depends on cultures as well, right?
Yeah, so what I'm going to say is JC intelligence, it's not AI.
That's good. It is validated.
Hallelujah.
So John is all ears.
I like it.
My own opinions, okay? So I'm not saying that this is the truth. This is the result of my studies of this, which is actually from a perspective a bit different from yours, because we have a different style of studying Spiritism here. But then again, it's still based on the Spiritist principles. Now, it's how I put it together, okay? So bear with me for a while. So the basic question that I was given by David is, did God cause the tsunami to happen? Okay, so this point of view, I think, is coming from the common misconception from the point of view of anthropomorphism, so which is actually a view of man trying to give God human characteristics. So, like, for example, he's very partial. He has a chosen people, right? So he experiences anger or jealousy. And at the same time, he's very punitive. Okay, so he punishes. So anthropomorphism is actually some sort of literary tool that will help man to understand complex spiritual concepts like God, right? But we must be very careful to balance this in view of God's incomprehensibility. We say God is omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, but can we really grasp what that means? Because we now know there are trillions of galaxies. How can God be present in each area of that galaxy, in each star, in each planet? And how can he be aware of what's happening? Not just among us humans, but in all the inhabitants of all these galaxies. And how can he exert his will? Because when you say omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, that is what is meant, right? So it's impossible for us humans right now to grasp. That's why even in the Spirit's book, they're saying, we're just introducing what some of God's attributes, but they cannot explain to us because they said you do not have the capability to grasp. Okay, so this is where Spiritism introduces now the natural laws. Religious people usually refer to God's will, okay, but can they explain what it really means? So Spiritism teaches that God's will is manifested through the natural laws or the divine laws that were established to govern creation, the whole of the universe, material and spiritual worlds, right? So these laws are supposed to be eternal, immutable, perfect, right? Just like God. Now, the law of destruction is one of these natural laws, okay? And it refers now to the transformation and renewal of matter and living beings as part of the divine plan. So contrary to what the name initially suggests, destruction in this context is not synonymous with evil or unnecessary suffering, but it is an integral mechanism of progress. So destruction is an inherent part of nature. It affects both the material world, meaning the physical changes, death, decay, and the moral world, meaning the end of institutions, happening of revolutions, and societal evolution. So in the context of the book that we're reading, the law of destruction is identified as the force behind the destructive calamities and man-made disasters that regularly afflict mankind. So these destructive events are actually not random. Okay? So like earthquakes are caused by the movement of tectonic plates. And this happens over hundreds or even thousands of years. And it's the point wherein these plates slide under each other that this earthquake happens. Okay? Even with volcano eruptions, depends now on the flow, the rise of magma. So that does not happen instantly. Like God can say, okay, happen. I want a tsunami to happen. But it is built up over time. Same also with the other form, man caused. or what they call abuse by man of the law of destruction, like unjust wars, like the Ukraine invasion, unnecessary violence, the drug war by Duterte here in the Philippines. Okay, so again, this does not happen instantly. It is built. They accumulate power. They are elected to their position, and then they start now implementing their dictatorship. So the law of justice, actually acting through the corollary law of cause and effect, ensures that only people with karmic debts from their past lives are exposed and affected by this law of destruction. In my own understanding of the Spiritist principles, God does not punish man because God is perfect. He's pure love. He was the one who created us. In the divine design, created us as ignorant, primitive, but perfectible. So the natural laws now provide the framework within which the whole of creation progresses, including man. And that is why we say man himself is the master of his fate. All our past experiences, our thoughts and deeds are said to be inscribed in our perispirit. Okay, so we participate also in our reincarnatory planning. So for us to be able to strengthen our weaknesses, rectify our deficiencies, atone for our mistakes, make reparations. So we actually plan, we accept, okay, these are the travails or the tribulations that I will go through. And it is through these vibrational frequencies or energies of our spirits or perispirits that attract the positive and negative consequences of our past actions. The level of our spirit determines where we will be born. That's why we are all here in this world of expiation or now transformation, we call it, right? So we also understand that there's no incident that is an accident. There is no good luck or bad luck. We are where we are supposed to be. So the hundreds of thousands who were killed in the tsunami were where they are supposed to be when the earthquake happened. The thousands of people killed here in the Philippines during President Duterte's term were where they were supposed to be. The Palestinians now in Gaza are where they're supposed to be when Hamas attacked Israel, provoking the massive bombing campaign. The Ukrainians, right now, they were meant to have Putin as the president of Russia. Just like the immigrants there in the US, the LGBTQ, the black and brown Americans are meant to be there now that Trump is shaking things up. Okay? And even on a smaller scale, your students, worshipers, and shoppers were where they were supposed to be when the various school, church, and shopping center mass shootings happened. Okay? So that being said, right now I'm still not able to reconcile the Spiritist principles that this large simultaneous loss of life is by homogeneous spirits and results in the simultaneous exile to a lower world. Because that would in effect be some sort of profiling. Like, for example, were all the victims, the tsunamis, criminals? So you're profiling Asians as criminals because majority of those killed were Asians. So in the European war, the Ukrainians being killed right now. So they're being profiled as criminals. In Gaza, the Palestinians who are being deported or now undergoing what they call as genocide. Does that mean that all of them are also criminals? We know that's not true because even all the victims of Duterte now is being tried in The Hague, in the ICC, because there's proof that not all the first people killed were criminals. A lot of them were innocent students. So that is now what I'm hoping we will be able to discuss later on when we go through the examples. Okay. So what this all means, how we can reconcile all these principles that we're going through right now. So again, David, for me, God does not punish. We ourselves set our fate. Our negative energies through our perispirit, our spirit and perispirit, these are what attracts all those other vibrations so that it will determine where we will be born and what we will be undergoing in each incarnation. So that is my explanation, understanding of this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jesse. That was very comprehensive. I think-
Carlos have a question.
Thank you so much, JC. It has been very, very well approached.